Bengal Chief Minister Mamta Banerjee has been holding forth for almost 30 minutes now, hours after the Election Commission, in an unprecedented move, has decided to halt campaigning in Bengal starting at 10 p.m. tomorrow. Campaigning was supposed to stop at 5 p.m. on Friday. Instead, it's going to stop at 10 p.m. tomorrow after that vandalism and violence that we saw at Amit Shah's roadshow in Kolkata yesterday. Mamta Banerjee, in a no-holds-barred attack on the Election Commission as well as the Prime Minister and Amit Shah in the last few minutes, among other things, she has said that the Election Commission is doing exactly what Mr. Modi wants it to do, that this decision by the EC, she has described it as unfair, something she opposes, saying that there is no law and order problem in Bengal that warranted this action. Apart from that, she has become the next leader after Mayawati to launch a personal attack on the Prime Minister, saying that Mr. Modi can't even take care of his wife. How can he take care of the country? We saw Mayawati, the BSP chief, doing that the other day. Mamta Banerjee has now taken a cue from that and has also launched this very personal attack on the Prime Minister, calling all these developments that have happened in the last 24 hours in Bengal a pre-planned conspiracy of the BJP. Monideepa Banerjee joining us from Kolkata at this hour as this story unfolds tonight. Monideepa, what is also important is that when campaigning does end tomorrow, the Prime Minister, though, gets to hold the 2 rallies that were scheduled for him tomorrow. Tell us more.
Well, I believe there is one rally that is likely to end at about 8 o'clock in the evening tomorrow, and that is at Damdam, which is in the north of Kolkata. So yes, he is going to be holding that rally, his last campaign in Bengal. Mamta Banerjee was just announcing a few minutes ago that she has not been sitting pretty, and she will ensure that she can hold all the rallies that she had planned to. Mathurapur was one of the places mentioned where the Prime Minister is going, and then to Damdam. Mamta Banerjee said she will rework her program so that she does not fail to address her entire constituency in the state. It's a no-holds-barred war. What is very, very worrying, really, Anidhi, 324, that section being used for the first time ever in the country. And I just hope that good old one about what Bengal thinks today, India thinks tomorrow, does not come true, at least with this one. I have some Kolkata residents with me who have been following these developments for the last hour or so. Right here, let me go straight to them and ask you for your first reaction to this situation.
Such chaos, and this state has happened before. So I think action speaks louder than words. Then who are they trying to fool us? And
आप क्या कहेंगे?
See, one thing is very clear that none of these parties care about democracy. It's all about power, and power being directly proportional to the evil. So when we are talking about the lesser of the two evils, जिसके पास ज़्यादा power है, वही exploit कर रहा है. अब तक state machinery को ममता बनर्जी खुद कर रही थी, और अब जब इन्हें realize हुआ है कि हम भी कुछ कर सकते हैं, तो इन्होंने भी कर दिया. Desperate measure है, मरता क्या न करता. इन्हें भी डर लग रहा है, हमें भी डर लग रहा है.
अरे बाप रे. Yes, indeed. What would you say, Amit?
See, after deployment of the second largest central force in the state and having all those changes in the administration, if this is the kind of fair and free election that we're going to have, then I must say Election Commission has failed. And I have one question to ask, which is, if law and order situation in Bengal is so bad, then why aren't we stopping the campaign tonight? Why till tomorrow? Exactly. Okay. What is the reason?
Okay. Anybody got any more questions on that? Quickly, question?
No question on that.
You?
If the people whom we are entrusting with power to rule the country for next 5 years are abusing their powers right before the elections, with what will the public trust them in and cast their votes in order for them?
Right. Okay, so there you have it, a sense of distrust growing towards the system, and then there is also a sense of fear, perhaps, of how the next few days, up till the 19th of May, are going to be, whether they'll be safe. Okay. There are already people talking about how they are very worried about clashes breaking out across the state, and there are worries that 19th could just see the worst violence we have seen so far this election.
Let's hope that doesn't happen. Monideepa Banerjee, thanks very much, and let's go straight across to our panel that has been patiently watching all of this unfold. We have Dr. Garga Chatterjee, who is a supporter of the Trinamool Congress from Kolkata, Mr. Deshratan Nigam, who is a political analyst and sympathizer of the BJP. Here in the studio with us, two veteran journalists, Smita Gupta and Aarti Jairath, and of course we have the Congress's Gaurav Vallabh with us as well. I just want to take this to you, Mr. Nigam, first. You know, the question that is being asked is, now Mr. Arun Jaitley has tweeted saying, there is a breakdown of constitutional machinery in Bengal, then why is the campaign not being stopped tonight? Do you think that the Election Commission needs to really officially give an answer to that?
See, this is for the first time, I think, the BJP and the TMC have attacked the Election Commission at the same time, which certainly shows that, at least shows that Election Commission must be doing something right. But the fact remains that suddenly stopping it and then, being a democracy in election taking place, giving some breather to organize yourself and do whatever you want to do within one day. So I think it's a very balanced kind of a decision. But at the same time, the decision which has come right now, there is a history and a context to it. Look at the Panchayat election, what happened at that point of time, and the violence that took place, and 20,000 Panchayat seats went uncontested. So there is a history and a context to it, and the violence was continuing, and finally this step had to be taken. And at the same time, if you also notice that the Congress workers were very badly beaten there. The Congress candidates were attacked. The left candidate Mohammad Salim was also beaten up. So the violence was across the spectrum. So finally the Election Commission, it appears, has woken up. It should have done it earlier, in my opinion. And the difficulty with other parties is that the state leadership is vehemently contesting against the TMC, but the central leadership of certain parties is condoning the acts of TMC. That is where lies the paradox.
Okay, so you're saying that the Election Commission is trying to give okay, you're saying that the Election Commission's decision, you see it as a balanced decision which gives a breather to political parties. Gaurav Vallabh of the Congress, you raised your hand right away on that. That is what Election Commission officials are telling journalists tonight. That it was to just, take a step back and then impose this ban on campaigning from tomorrow. You're not buying that.
See, I am praying that tomorrow weather should be good and flight should take off and fly in the right time. Otherwise, if Prime Minister is not able to come back by 10 o'clock, Election Commission has to issue a second guideline that till 10:30, till 11 o'clock, because till the time Divider-in-Chief and Faker-in-Chief is in Kolkata, they can't impose the ban on the political campaigning. My second question to Mr. Nigam, that Mr. Nigam, the same type of violence happened in Uttar Pradesh. Our MLA Aditi Singh, her convoy, had you seen the vehicle, in which condition she had saved her life? Is this Article 324 is only for Bengal, or there is a separate article or constitution for Uttar Pradesh and rest of the countries? Please let me know. And the third thing, which is the last point, that Mr. Nigam, your candidate from Bengal, Ms. Bharati Ghosh, she herself had admitted that 20-30 हजार गुंडे बुलाऊंगी और TMC को जूते पड़वाऊंगी. That is her statement. Mr. Nigam, what happened to her? Is Election Commission is cancelling her nomination? She herself says that she is an IPS officer. What kind of IPS officer she is? She is telling गुंडे आके TMC को मारेंगे. And the same gundas had demolished the statue of Ishwar Chand Vidyasagar. By demolishing the statue of Ishwar Chand Vidyasagar or Periyar or Dr. Ambedkar, do you think that their learnings or their contribution are going to cut down? I am sorry, no, they are going to grow further.
But before Mr. Nigam answers that, Garga Chatterjee, the fact is it is unprecedented, the action the Election Commission has taken. Amit Shah was holding a press conference this morning complaining that the Election Commission is sleeping and isn't doing anything, which is what Mamata Banerjee has now turned into a threat against the EC. But the fact is that it really doesn't speak very well then of the situation in Bengal if the Election Commission has had to do this. But you, of course, see it as a completely partisan commission.
So, what is unprecedented about the Election Commission, the way you frame that question, what is unprecedented is this Election Commission. In the last 5 years, you have seen Modi's own Chief Secretary, Achal Kumar Jyoti, becoming the Chief Election Commissioner. Did we think we will come to such a day? And do you think that the whole set of officers which were changed in the Election Commission during that tenure are sitting there just to get their salary? We have to ask this hard question. During this election, an observer was put for Bengal who attends RSS programs in uniform, the BSF uniform. These are the people. We have seen central forces threaten people, threaten voters, threaten people getting in, and as special election observers, wife is actually fighting election in Bengal. I mean, this has been a real assault on electoral politics and election system in India. But we will persevere. They can break Vidyasagar's statue, but they will not be able to break Bengal or the Bengali people or the legacy of Vidyasagar. They may be able to break Kobi Shukanto's statue in Tripura as they did BJP, but they will not break the enthusiasm and the inspiration that is to us. They may rename Rabindranath Chowk in Patna as Atal Chowk, but the Nobel Prize will remain Rabindranath and his song will remain the national anthem. They might want to do anything, but at the end of the day, it's the people who are sovereign. This whole nexus, see how people have planned the election rallies. When Narendra Modi's election rallies are there, till then it is okay. When other people's election rallies are there in the next, then it's not okay. We have seen this before. When Gujarat election schedule waited for him to make some
to our commentators on the panel. Let me take what you're saying to our commentators. Smita Gupta, to you first. Is there a big question mark in your mind about why the Election Commission chose to do this in the way that it did it? Do you think the EC had no choice, firstly, and do you think that the timing is suspect?
Well, I think the timing is very suspect because he could have, as somebody pointed out earlier in the program, if the situation was so serious, they should have brought everything to an end tonight instead of giving another 24 hours, especially when the Prime Minister has 2 scheduled rallies tomorrow. And the other thing is that if the situation is so grim in Bengal, then the election should have been postponed, if it is that bad, you know. So there is something we have seen right through the election commission's the way the election commission has responded to complaints, especially against the Prime Minister and Mr. Amit Shah, and to complaints against other people, maybe from the BJP itself or to people from other political parties. It has not seemed even-handed. And for the Election Commission at this time, it is very important to seem even-handed because the Election Commission is one of the great institutions of this country. And people from all over the world come, you know, from developing countries to take lessons from our Election Commission. Because the elections in India are like among probably one of the largest democratic election in the world, and it's a miracle that it's been being held year after year for, you know, for 70 odd years.
Do you think it was a mistake to have the Bengal poll in 7 phases? There's been a lot of commentary on that. Why, you know, a handful of smattering of seats in every phase?
I think they shouldn't. I mean, there was no need to have it in 7 phases. I think the BJP are anticipating, because I'm sure the BJP influenced the fact that there were 7 phases. I don't think it was a choice of the EC alone. They probably thought that this way they would be able to
have a protracted campaign in Bengal. Yeah. But what has also happened today, Aarti Jairath, is Mamta's political attack on Mr. Modi and Amit Shah, which was a very, very strong one. And, you know, like Mayawati, she's attacked the Prime Minister personally and said if he can't take care of his wife, how can he take care of the country? You know, many see these deeply personal attacks as being below the belt. It is unfortunate, isn't it, that the discourse has come to this?
Yes, Nidhi, in fact, it is really, really unfortunate. And, you know, I think one of the reasons why the discourse has reached such a low level this time is that we've had a very, very long election campaign. I mean, it's not just the number of phases, it's the number of days. I think this election campaign is 16 days longer than this election schedule. It's 16 days longer than the one in 2014. So, you know, when you spread it out for so long, ultimately people stop talking about issues, and that's what we've seen in the last 2-3 weeks. It's all become personal. It's just abuse after abuse, raking up old history, raking up Rajiv Gandhi, long gone, you know, now the Prime Minister's personal life. This is what the election has been reduced to. And I think that, you know, I'm sorry, I think the Election Commission needs to answer a lot of questions when this whole thing is over. You know, and it's really sad, as Smita said, because our Election Commission is held up as, you know, a great example all over the world and is admired all over the world because we conduct elections so regularly in such a peaceful manner. We have managed to deepen the whole election process so that weaker sections come out to vote today. But this election, the decisions by the Election Commission, the way it has behaved, I mean, I think there are a lot of questions. And I'm sorry, even that day, the violence that happened in Bengal yesterday, you had CRPF there, you had state police there. I don't know who was responsible for the violence, but all the videos I saw, there was the police just stood by and let the violence happen.
Mr. Nigam, do you want to comment on this, that, you know, the sort of, the nature of the campaign itself and Mamta's attack on the Prime Minister tonight?
Is the question to me?
Yeah.
See, this is getting too personal. It appears that BJP has been able to successfully, you know, push Mamta Banerjee, beyond the brink of sanity. I was able to catch up one or two Hindi sentences which she was using. Ki Modi ko desh se nikal do. She was exhorting people to throw Mr. Modi out of the country. I think what kind of language or the message that you were trying to send, being the elected chief minister of a state, of a beautiful state, I would say, which has huge amount of Bengali culture and tradition and heritage, and that is not Bengal is what is known for. At the same time, there is a problem with the Congress. Congress should, talk to their state leadership, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, who has a specific view about TMC. The central leadership is having a different view and the state leadership is having a different view. That is where the paradox lies. If the opposition in West Bengal had a united stand, I think things could have been tackled. But since some of the national leadership, including Congress and left, were highly confused as to what to say in the state and what to say at the national level, has increased the pandemonium and the confusion.
All right, Gaurav, do you want to take that?
Nidhi, yesterday only Amit Shah mentioned Kangal Bengal. Does Amit Shah mean that all Bengalis are Kangal? Do you mean to convey this? And I am just most respectfully I am asking few questions to Mr. Nigam. कांग्रेस की विधवा किसके लिए बोला था भैया? चंगेज खान की औलाद प्रधानमंत्री ने किसके लिए बोला था भैया, जरा बता दीजिए. इनके पिताजी भ्रष्टाचारी नंबर 1 है, वो किसके लिए बोला था? I don't think he had mentioned someone from his own family or from BJP. I am asking Himachal president of BJP what he was abusing. I can't repeat that on any civilized debate. I am just asking Dr. Manmohan Singh, Prime Minister used to say Pakistan ke agent. Do you feel Manmohan Singh ji is Pakistan's agent? Do country feel that Manmohan Singh ji is Pakistan's agent? Do anybody from Sikh community feels that Manmohan Singh ji is Pakistan's agent? What he is telling inside the parliament, Manmohan Singh ji raincoat pehen ke nahate hain for another ex-president Prime Minister. Is this the language of a sitting Prime Minister? Do you feel that's correct? 50 crore ki girlfriend Prime Minister is saying for some lady who died. So these languages are okay. Union Minister Ashwini Chaubey is saying that ye neech ki aulad hai. Is this language is correct? Had you condemned anyone from BJP? What kind of language? And Nidhi, I am telling you, Amit Shah जहाँ जाएंगे वहाँ कोई मंदिर तो होंगे नहीं, जहाँ जहाँ पैर पड़े संतन के वहाँ बंटाधारी होगा. अमित शाह राइट्स, अमित शाह गए और दंगे ना हो तो अमित शाह का जाना ही बेकार है. नहीं तो वो जाएंगे क्यों? दंगे करवाने ही तो जाते हैं. एंड भारती घोष हरसेल्फ इज टेलिंग कि 20,000 गुंडे बुलाए. किसके लिए बुलाए थे निगम साहब? वहां ममता जी का कोई मंदिर में आरती कर रहे थे क्या? ये गुंडे क्यों आए? व्हेन योर ओन कैंडिडेट इज सेइंग, उसके खिलाफ इलेक्शन कमीशन में शिकायत करते तो पता चलता. व्हाई दोस गुंडास आर देयर? 20,000 गुंडास फ्रॉम यूपी एंड बिहार. यू आर नॉट हैविंग एनी आंसर.
I just have time for last comments. We had such a long sort of press conference by Mamta Banerjee, but Garga Chatterjee, what are you holding in your hand? I mean, I'm transfixed. What is that? What is that paper?
It's a paper here. These are gods of Bengal. These are people who the goons which were hired by BJP using their Dhokla Mafia money. They probably do not know any of these people. And BJP government also does not care about these people. But C.R. Das is our God. Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar is our God. Rishi Aurobindo is our God. Ram Mohan Rai is our God. Prabhupada Chandra Rai is our God. Subhash Bose is our God. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi is our God. Sharat Chandra is our God. Matangini Hajra is our God. And I am holding my pantheon as a Bengali, as a person from Bengal, to see that this is what BJP is up against. It has no chance.
All right, well, we will test that on the 23rd, but have to leave it there tonight. Thank you to all of you for joining us on this developing story this evening. We do expect that there will be some more drama tomorrow before the campaign ends in Bengal at 10 p.m.